Hey everybody, Melissa with Sagebrush Wellness here. Thank you for allowing me a moment of your time today to chat with you about something that I see a lot of questions in this group about. So, a lot of us in this group are really working on managing or working on unraveling what is causing our autoimmune or chronic condition. All right. So a lot of you, when you entered the group, one of the things you were interested in was knowing more about how to support your body with food. So just to get something off the top here, I do not recommend any one certain diet or way of eating per se for folks simply because our bodies are so very individual that what works really well for me is not necessarily going to work really well for you. So when we're really thinking about supporting our body with food, there are three areas that we need to think about. So number one, we need to think about, are we being able to bring in food that is clean and free of toxins? That's a huge one, especially if we have autoimmune. So thinking about what type of food we're bringing in. Number two, is our body able to actually process and break down and absorb that food? I know those are like three things in one. But we need to understand, because when we're in an inflammatory condition, when we have an autoimmune type condition, the intestinal tract is often, well, I don't want to say always, but nearly always quite inflamed, which impairs the ability of the body to break down and absorb food. Okay. So we need to understand, again, is our body being able to release the enzymes, the stomach acid, all of that? What are the levels that are happening there? Are we able to produce those in our body to be able to support food breakdown? What does our bile flow look like? Is our gallbladder working well? Do we still have our gallbladder? Is our liver working well? So these are key pieces to think about. And then the third piece that I really want to dive into with you today is food sensitivities and allergies. So one of the things that I've been working on really hard behind the scenes is creating a space for you to be able to order your own functional testing. So I've partnered with a lab to be able to offer this to you. I'm so excited because it opens the ability, one, for you to order your own testing, and two, for you to order your own testing if you are not a current client of Sagebrush Wellness. It opens this wide open for you. And I wanted to offer this to you guys first in this group because I want to support you in whatever way we can. So I'm going to share screen. I'll also be, because this is recorded, you'll be able to pop back in and re-listen, but I'm also going to post pertinent links to information that we're going to go through together today. So let me share screen here. Welcome to our lab platform. I'm so excited to share this with you. I didn't know if it would be possible, but I just can't. I want you to have access to the information you need to be able to make amazing choices for yourself and help you get better. Okay. So this is, excuse me, our lab platform, and I will be sharing the link to this platform with you. We have a full suite of lab test options. So these are all home collection kits that you order. The kits come to your house. You do your own sample collection. Depending on which test you choose, it may be a blood spot or finger prick sample collection. It may be urine collection. It may be a bowel movement collection. I've also added in here some options around getting some consultations. So a lot of times when we get lab tests back, it's like, oh, yes, I get it. I understand. I know what I need to do. Done. But if that is not you, or you're going, okay, great, I have this information, now I need help knowing what to do with it, you can always book in for a lab review consultation with me or one of our other functional medicine practitioners on the team. If you get your labs back and you're like, okay, I need help really looking at full picture, diving in, I want to really address this long term, and you want to come on as a client with Sagebrush Wellness, you have that option as well. So the main test that I want to talk about today is this one, the complete food sensitivity test. So one of the reasons I suggest this one, especially if you have an autoimmune or chronic illness situation going on for yourself, is we're not only testing foods, but we're testing additives and toxins as well. Okay. So the idea behind this is to uncover what foods are causing literal inflammation in the digestive tract. If the body is experiencing continued inflammation, that can be one of the primary drivers for autoimmune situations. So autoimmune, it's when the immune system is either hyperactive or hypoactive or ping-ponging between the two. This can be a major player in pushing those buttons for the immune system to not be able to work correctly. All right. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. Again, I'm going to share the link for this, and you can go, dive deeper into this information. Let's see. So this is what is going to be tested: 209 foods and 57 food additives. Non-food-based additives include difficult to detect ingredients such as preservatives, artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, food dyes, and even pesticides. So this really helps give you some detailed information around, are you sensitive to foods? Which ones? Are you sensitive to dyes, anything extra that's added into the foods, and which ones? Because contrary to popular opinion, not everyone is sensitive to gluten or dairy or, you name it. So a lot of you potentially have been on something like an anti-inflammatory diet, which is great, or gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free diet, an AIP diet, you name it. Maybe you've been vegetarian or whatever it is that you've chosen. Great. But a lot of times when we don't know what is causing inflammation in the body, especially if it could be food-based, this can answer that question. Because I've had people in my practice come in and they're eating like 5 things, right? And they're like, we took all this stuff out. This is awesome, but I'm still having this problem. And we do a food sensitivity test, and 3 of the foods they're eating every day, their body is having an inflammatory reaction to. And we need to really shift away from those foods, bring in other foods that we've tested, and their body has showed us, yes, they're okay with these foods. So shifting, broadening their options for nutrition, and being able to shift away from the foods that are actually causing inflammation and actually furthering their dis-ease process. Okay. So this is one of the huge values of knowing what foods your body is good with and what foods your body is not good with. So a lot of times I have heard the elimination diet is the 100% best thing to do. Okay. So I don't agree with that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, say, for example, I had this precious, precious client. We did the elimination diet. That's what she'd heard. I was like, yeah, let's do it if you want to do it. It's a lot of work, but you can do it. We did it, but we were still missing something. We did some food sensitivity testing, found out that some of the basic ingredients, one was cinnamon. Who would have guessed cinnamon, right? Was hugely triggering to her body. I mean, when she would have that, after we took it out, let her body recover, and then we started to reintroduce it, she would flush, she would swell. I mean, you could see it. I'm like, oh, girl. So this is something that we need to think about. These little tiny ingredients that we don't necessarily think of can be hidden. And unless we know them, we aren't able to take them out and help our body decrease inflammation. Okay. All right, you guys can read all through this if you like. This is a blood finger prick sample collection kit. Everything that you need will come in the kit. It'll come to your house. You'll be able to read through the instructions, collect the sample, and then send it directly back to the lab. Here are the markers that will be tested. Dairy, excuse me, different kinds of fish, meat, shellfish. You can peruse through this more if you want to, really leaning into what will be tested. But I want to show you this. Oh, excuse me. Where'd it go? Sorry about that. I just opened a really cool information tab for you guys, and now I've lost it. I am so sorry. But it goes through not just the food sensitivity complete standards. Let's see here. Here it is. All right, so I am going to actually download this, excuse me, and include the link to this page. I want you to go through this, especially if you have questions about what is a food sensitivity, what is a food allergy, what is the difference between the two. I also want you to understand that we will be using and we'll be testing for IgA sensitivity, IgG, and IgG4. Okay. These are the folks that can really, really benefit from doing this type of testing. All right. I like, especially when clients come into our practice and we're really doing the broad spectrum testing to just get started and understand what some of the major players are for them in their dis-ease process. We need to look at food sensitivities. Okay, this is a major, major player for helping you reduce inflammation in your body. Sorry, let me grab a drink. Oh, I am so sorry. My throat was giving me heck today. All right, so you're welcome to read all through this, but these are ways of really getting a baseline on what is happening in your total immunoglobulins. So if you've been in and out of testing for autoimmune or chronic illness, you've had these, your immunoglobulins tested, especially if you have elevated IgA, IgG, IgE, or IgM antibodies or immunoglobulins. I highly, highly suggest that you do a test like this. Awesome. All right, guys. Feel free to put any questions that you have in the comments below. I'll be popping in and out of our group today to really try to answer some questions for you. But if you feel like this is really something that you want to do and you lean into it, guess what? You can order it on your own. You don't have to wait and go through a practitioner. If you want our help to really talk through the results with you, we would be very happy to do that. If you want to come on as a new client and just dig in and do the work, we welcome you. And yeah, let us know how we can support you. Have an absolutely amazing day. Take care.